Today on the Serial Port, we're looking at one of the strangest finds we've come across to date. A VT525 terminal and a Dell Optiplex, which both seem boring from the outside, but they're hiding something very special and unexpected on the inside. So come along as we investigate their origins and then do a little customization. All right, heading out to the shop to take a look at a couple of new items that we just got that are kind of unique. So there was a bowling alley that went out of business some time ago, and they had, of course, the scoring systems, and there was a terminal and a Dell PC that were part of the auction, and we got them for like, I think a little over $1 each, and just picked them up today. So I thought we would take a quick look and see exactly what we got. The bowling alley in question was known as Village Lanes, and it has a long history in the city of Durham, North Carolina. Constructed in 1962, it closed on May 31st in 2023, leaving behind a 61-year legacy. And the building now sits abandoned, left to decay in a forgotten, overgrown lot. But in late December of 2024, the bowling balls, hardware, neon signs, and used bowling shoes were put up for auction. And crucially, a Dell PC and VT terminal, which seemed a bit more intriguing. We decided to bid on both, and after winning the auctions, we went to collect our prizes. The terminal we won was located in the bowling alley's front desk area. It is a VT525 made by Boundless Technologies, but the original VT525 was produced by Digital Equipment Corporation in 1994. And in fact, it was one of the last terminals made by DEC, as the rise of personal computers made them exceedingly obsolete. Sunriver Data Systems purchased DEC's terminal business in 1995, and then rebranded to Boundless Technologies. We usually think of a dumb terminal as a device integrated with a display to interact with systems over a serial connection. But this VT525 unit is standalone, with a VGA port for the display, and perhaps a bit more advanced than a basic dumb serial terminal. It's capable of 4 separate sessions displayed on screen in ANSI color graphics. The unit we received has a Bowling Score technology sticker on the bottom and was repaired in June of 2018. Shout out to Mike. It has 2 DEC RS423 6-pin ports, along with a male and female 25-pin RS232 serial port, as well as a parallel port beside the VGA port. The inside is simple, with a power supply and a single board making up the terminal. However, there is also a footprint for a ROM cartridge on the PCB and the mounting hardware in the chassis. Turning it on, we see a self-test OK message indicating that the terminal seems to be okay. But arguably, the most interesting part of the terminal is this Keytronic PS2 keyboard, customized by Bowling Score technology with custom keycaps and labels for all of the different bowling alley functions. The Bowling Score technology website indicates that they work with Brunswick scoring systems, so maybe the Dell will shed some more light on exactly how the system worked. The Dell was located in the bowling alley's back office, and it's an Optiplex 760, originally released in 2008. From the front, it's just an ordinary system, but the rear reveals some unique details. The onboard USB, audio, and RJ45 ports are blocked off with a Do Not Use sticker, just below Velcro for a missing loopback tester for some unknown purpose. This system was apparently connected to a serial modem at some point as well. Perhaps most revealingly, there is an expansion card just below a PS2 and serial breakout bracket that has a 78-pin high-density D-sub connector, and just below that is a NIC card with a helpful internet label. Opening up the case, there's a single SATA hard disk, which hopefully still has some data on it, and a ribbon cable that connects the PS2 and serial port bracket to the motherboard. And we can identify this PCI card as an Equinox SST-4/8P with an Equinox chip here and several Equinox super serial processors. And now that we're armed with a little bit of knowledge of what's in the system, let's see if it'll power up. To our complete disbelief, the system boots into SCO OpenServer 5. This was probably the last OS we expected to see installed on this machine. An otherwise plain, boring Dell hiding a classic Unix operating system that neither of us have seen in the wild. We can see during boot up we have a BCM5721 based NIC, and it also detects the Equinox serial controller. And eventually, we end up at a login prompt. So enter your username, Brunswick Center Management System.
Think again. Introducing Brunswick's Color Vision Plus.
Brunswick is a name that's practically synonymous with bowling itself. If you've ever been bowling, chances are you've touched a Brunswick bowling ball, rolled down Brunswick lanes, or used their scoring systems. Founded in 1845, Brunswick started out as a billiards table manufacturer before expanding into bowling equipment in the early 1900s. And now they design and manufacture nearly every component of the modern bowling experience, from the lanes and pin setters to the scoring systems and management software. And looking at Brunswick bowling system manuals, it's clear the Dell was meant to be at the heart of bowling center management. Now at the Serial Port Lab, we tried a few guesses for the login such as guest, but without any luck. Our curiosity was off the charts at this point, so we pulled the hard drive and attempted to mount it from a modern Linux computer. While there is some scant info online about mounting SCO Unix systems from Linux, this effort didn't work. We then tried to image the drive with DD, but ran into what looks like a media error. So we found the DD rescue utility, which seemed to be successful in reading it. A single partition is on the drive, about 8 gigabytes in size. Not sure where to turn next, one of our community supporters was able to read the password file from the DD rescue dump. They ran John the Ripper, a classic password cracking utility, which quickly revealed the password for several users. With this info, we were able to log in as a user, and we got this menu.
Oh, nice.
All of a sudden, this feels like our first day on the job, working at a bowling alley with a line of customers waiting. And we forgot to attend training.
Okay.
Enter screen when done. Yes. All right.
Okay, so am I in
can
there?
we log in as you? Here. Ben. Oh, man.
Nice.
We want to see more about how this system works, and with the root password, we're switching over to Virtual Terminal 2 to give it a try. But we're presented with this truly puzzling challenge code. Our Discord came to the rescue again, though, as one of our supporters was able to mount and modify the image to get us root access into OpenServer. We loaded the image into a virtual machine to more conveniently investigate the data. We also imaged the data to an SSD since the original mechanical drive was failing. After reinstalling that into the system, it was time to come up with a plan. In earlier videos, we've talked about how an early 1990s ISP would start out, often with a multi-port serial card connected to modems. So we have an ongoing interest in them, just like the Equinox serial card in the Dell. From the little we understand about these bowling systems, the scorers at each lane would connect via serial link to a system generally located in the back office. We unfortunately weren't able to get the cable from the bowling alley, but we did find a few on eBay. A few days later, we had this in hand and were ready to take the next step in trying out this card. The terminal used the special bowling keyboard and was most likely how the staff interacted with the system the majority of the time. So we'd like to see the terminal working, at least to give us a login prompt to SCO OpenServer. With the terminal connected to port 1 on the Equinox card, we get an LIU interface error with a timeout. After reading some documentation, we found out that LIU stands for Lane Interface Unit, and it's a device used to facilitate communication between the pin setters on each lane and the back office computer. A forum post about this error suggested this is a problem that could have been caused by a lightning strike, and actually several messages online mention problems with these systems and lightning strikes. And unfortunately, we don't have a loopback tester. We went back to the Dell to see if we could disable or otherwise alter the LIU. We found the port assignment settings under the Special Commands menu, showing us the serial port assignments as well as the parallel port configuration. And it looks like this bowling alley used the Brunswick AS90 system, which dates back to the 1990s. We were able to change the LIU port, but this didn't really seem to accomplish anything. Back on the terminal, we then tried maintenance mode by hitting M and decided to just enter in one of the passwords for a user that we created on the Dell. This immediately launches us into a special functions menu. We then tried entering 19 for the maintenance menu and were asked if we're sure we want to disconnect the LIU. Yes, I want to disconnect the LIU.
Wait,
Okay, the LIU is disconnected.
it's like defusing a bomb.
Entering 600 brings up the menu that we see on the Dell, so it looks like you can administer the entire system from the terminal. Hitting reset on the keyboard brings us to another screen, and after entering in the password,
Oh yeah.
Whoa! Nice.
this looks like the status screen that would normally be displayed on the terminal, presumably showing the bowling lanes and scores. So we have success with the LIU disconnected. Our first objective to get the terminal working is complete. Before calling it quits, we wanted to go a step further and rename our facility. We'll adopt Brunswick's preferred term bowling center instead of bowling alley, what we assume was a deliberate industry shift to transform the perception of bowling from smoky back alley hangouts into modern family entertainment venues with state-of-the-art technology. We loaded up the virtual machine instance again, and looking at .profile for the root user, the challenge code program is commented out thanks to our Patreon supporter, and that file resides in the /u/css/bin directory. Navigating to the etc directory shows a config file, and opening that up, we see the bowling center name. With that change made, we now had to get the updated file onto the Dell since we still didn't have shell access there. The easiest way to accomplish this ended up being to simply image the modified VirtualBox image back onto the Dell's SSD. So first we needed to convert the VirtualBox image over to a raw image that we could then image to another SSD. Booting off of this new drive, we now see a message of an invalid registration, prompting us to call Computer Sports. But after a long wait, whatever was going on finally timed out, and we can log in.
Okay.
Entering in the root password, we have success. We're finally into an OpenServer shell prompt on the Dell with full access across the system. Switching over to another virtual console, we log in as another user and we're greeted with our new bowling center's name. The serial port bowling center is now open for business. And don't worry, if you're on the road and need to update your bowling leagues, that's no sweat. Just set up your ultra portable IBM PS2 Model 25, telnet or dial into the server, and keep an eye on the latest scores while the profits roll in. Finding these systems was basically a stroke of luck. We had no idea how bowling alleys operated and had no expectations going into this project. It turned out to be a surprisingly fun experience, and we're glad to have finally gotten some experience with SCO's OpenServer. And it looks like the latest Brunswick systems are now fully GUI driven and touchscreen operated, using Ethernet to connect pin setters, front desk, and back office operations. We do plan on trying out the terminal for some other applications, perhaps dialing into a BBS, but if we ever get the itch to start our own bowling alley, we're already halfway there. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.